Welcome back to Today in Rocket Science. I'm Adam Balkin. Your local zoo. It's a place we've all spent time as kids, but what types of science and technologies does it take to keep all those plants and animals out of harm's way and in the best health? Our Tara Lynn Wagner spends a day at the zoo.
For many of us, a trip to the zoo is a day full of fun and games, but there's more than meets the eye at every wildlife park.
There's a lot more to it than just caring for them or loving them. You have to understand so much about them and their needs. And so then with that, what sort of foods do they need? What sort of nutrition? How much space? Involves all elements of science, technology, engineering, and math.
It's a wild life for biologists and researchers at the San Diego Zoo and Safari Park. Rick Schwartz and his colleagues spend their days working with animals, nurturing, observing, and documenting information about their animal friends. It takes all kinds of STEM knowledge to make sure these animals are taken care of. Chemistry, math, biology, and more. The zoo focuses a lot on animal research, habitat conservation, and public education.
It's been fascinating, and we have an opportunity here with the animals we care for here at the zoo to learn about the basic biology of the species in a way that we can't do in the wild. The education component of what we do is extremely important, and I feel it's extremely important to the conservation process.
You may be thinking there's no job for you, but Megan says if you're interested in a STEM career, don't give up and be persistent.
Ultimately, it's just about doing what you love and not being dissuaded, loving the idea that science is cool, math is cool, wildlife is cool.
And both Megan and Rick touched on the importance of satisfying your hunger for knowledge.
Each of the different components, each of the different tools we use as scientists inform the whole picture. And even if your expertise is not quantitative, you want to make sure you keep your mind open.
Be pliable with your knowledge. If you think something may not apply to exactly what you want to do, learn about it anyway, especially in the scientific field or technology, because that area is growing in leaps and bounds.
And who knows, maybe you'll get to spend your career hanging with the animals. For It Ain't Rocket Science, I'm Tara Lynn Wagner.
In New York City, a group of medical students is bridging the gap between veterinary science and providing medical treatment to humans. Our Aaron Dickens drops in on their emergency wilderness medicine workshop.
We have to go underneath the scales.
Drawing blood from a rattlesnake is routine at the Staten Island Zoo, but for these medical students who got to sit in on the action, it was anything but ordinary.
I've seen them in the cage and everything, but never that close. It was really amazing.
More than a dozen students got a behind-the-scenes look at the zoo. They are enrolled in a week-long emergency medicine program at Staten Island University Hospital. Organizers say every day is a new experience, whether it's touring the hospital's emergency room or the zoo's nursery.
A lot of students that we come across don't really know the field of emergency medicine, they're not familiar. So what we thought was introducing them early.
The students are in their first or second year.
What is venom? Venom's a complex mixture of proteins, enzymes.
Doctors also held a presentation about medicine used in the wilderness and the basics of treating snake bites.
Being in such a quote-unquote urban environment like New York City, you don't necessarily think of things like, venomous snakes bringing someone into your emergency room. So it opened my eye to that possibility.
The zoo has more than 400 snakes. Half are venomous and the other half are not, like this boa constrictor. They hold educational programs nearly every week so people can get to know the different types.
There's not just one rattlesnake. There's many different types, and many of them have different ways of hurting people. And so people really do need to be careful and more protective about when they are interacting with animals in the wild.
The Centers for Disease Control say 7,000 to 8,000 people are bitten every year in the U.S., so the lessons learned here at the zoo could be life-saving skills down the road in the event that you need emergency medical care in the wild. For It Ain't Rocket Science, I'm Aaron Dickens.
Now, it's not always an emergency, but health care is important. In North Carolina, one doctor is showing what goes into making sure you stay healthy. Our Lisa Pappas joins a group of girls as they get a glimpse at a day in the life of a doctor.
Building casts and learning about bones.
Couldn't walk for at least 6 weeks.
Pediatric orthopedic surgeon Virginia Casey showed young girls what it's like to be a doctor.
It kind of helps me see what type of pediatrician I'd like to be. I thought it was pretty cool learning about the brain and the heart.
Learning how science, technology, engineering, and math skills can lead to their dream job in the medical field.
I think helping people is something that I really want to do.
It allows us to give girls relevant examples of women down the street in their neighborhood that are doing STEM careers and really excelling.
The nonprofit Project Scientist partnered with Ortho Carolina and Time Warner Cable to give these girls a hands-on experience in a STEM career.
Project Scientist is the only program nationally that starts as young as age 4, and we're the only program that focuses just on girls. And we do that because kids are born with a natural interest in the sciences.
A natural interest that girls often lose as they grow up.
When you're that age, you have these dreams, and then society in one way or another can trample them, or we can lift them up. And I think having experiences like this and having this STEM project lifts up these girls so they can have their dreams come true.
Dreams that start at science camps like this one.
I think women can also do it, and we can also change the world as much as men can.
Does that hurt? For It Ain't Rocket Science, I'm Litsa Pappas.
Well, that does it for this episode of It Ain't Rocket Science. Remember, to find more hands-on science, technology, engineering, and math opportunities in your neighborhood, head over to www.connectamillionminds.com. And until next time, it's been a blast.